Okay, we're back. We got this clay cleaned off. Now what I'm doing right now is just wiping down the mold, making sure I get all the clay residuals out. You don't necessarily need that in the aspect that the remaining clay that's still on there can help with the keeping the silicone from sticking together, but it is a good idea to just remove it all the way around, being that it is clay and it's just gonna cause it will cause distortions in your mold, how it's formed. Like if you don't have the mold wall precisely square and all that stuff, it will cause deficiencies. I'm taking water and a paper towel, and I'm just rubbing the silicone mold clean of the clay that is left on there. And it's taking several towels, but I'm just going to show you the process here. Just take basic water, tilt that down so you can see it a little bit. Now, granted, this is not your, perfect professional fucking YouTube type mold. This is just, like I said, the first time I've done this. But I will guarantee you, and this is, like I said, this is the good, bad, and ugly of everything, okay? So what you're seeing here is what they don't show you on the professional videos. They don't show you the cleaning process. They don't show you the ugly of what it is that they have to do. They always cut away and say, well, we're going to clean this up and we'll come back. And that process of pulling all that clay and stuff out, like I was showing you in the previous video, that's what you miss. So don't panic and freak out when you do this and you go, oh my God, this is a mess. It's supposed to be. Remember, boys and girls, if it's not messy, you're not doing it right. The thing is all these people make these videos and shit, and they're clean and neat and precise and all that shit. Trust me. Anybody that does this for a living will tell you it's not clean, precise, and neat. There is messes in between. They just don't want to show it because they think it makes them look unprofessional. Me, I'm about the reality of everything. Like I said, I will show you the good, bad, and the ugly. You show me somebody who molds with clay, pours silicone, and then is able to pull said clay away without leaving any behind or doing any cleanup like this. And I know some of the guys are going to come on the video and go, well, I do that. Really? Show me. Don't tell me. Show me. Prove it. Prove it. Prove that you are a professional with no, problems or no ugliness or no messes in your molding experience. Prove it. Prove it. Make a mold. Make a mold of the same thing I'm doing with the same clay, the same silicone, the same shit, and then just show it and how neat and precise and clean it all comes away and everything, where you don't have any clay laid behind and it just comes off perfectly and all that. And I'll say, okay, I was wrong, but I bet you won't do it. Because all you like to do is just talk that shit. You just talk that shit. People see it. They comment. They know. Just talk that shit. And talking that shit don't get you anywhere. You got to show that shit. And talk about it as you show it. Now you can see how this is becoming clean. As I'm cleaning it up. wiping all this clay off. Now, there's two things that you can do while I'm cleaning this. I'm going to tell you, there's two things you can do with this, because you never want to pour silicone directly on silicone without a release. And there was some debate earlier on one of the videos, the last video I did last night at Moon Nest, about why do you use silicone spray release or man spray release. Primarily, I don't. When I do fiberglass molding, if I'm like the Part 7 Jason, the sculpted, and molding fiberglass directly onto the sculpt after I save the work in silicone, I will spray a man's release on there, because that keeps that oil clay from melting into the details of the fiberglass. Which, what happens is, when you use auto body fiberglass or even polyurethane resin to make a mold, there's exothermic heat that hits that oil-based clay, and it causes it to soften and in some cases melt. So those details, that's part of the curing process. You can't get by that. That's just the way the design of and the chemical balances of nature. You can't do anything about that. But what happens is that resin or the fiberglass, whichever you use, polyurethane pourable resin, or if you use standard auto body fiberglass, what happens, that heats up. It's an exothermic reaction, meaning it heats up from the inside out. Or it's an external heat process. And it will soften and melt, in some cases melt the clay. I had the Ben Gardner, when I had the eye in there, and the actual eye that was in the sculpt shifted while it was curing, and it distorted the final product when I pulled it out, so I have to redo that. Unfortunately, I didn't make a mold of Ben. I didn't make a silicone mold. So what I have to do is I have to go in there and make a silicone mold of the eye itself, right? I can either make a silicone mold, right? And that's where I have to make a silicone mold of Ben as he is, foaming, soft foaming, pulling out of that fiberglass mold, okay? Then make a plaster shell around the silicone mold of him, or actually make a double layer of fiberglass. My bad. Double layer of fiberglass over that. I mean, not fiberglass, shit. I'm sorry, a double layer of silicone. In other words, I will mold Ben in, say, platinum silicone, right? And I'll brush that in, foam it, make a mold, make a bust. And when I pull it, you'll see his eye is fucked up. Okay? So then I will have to go back in and put tin seal jacket on him. And then I will have to make a plaster shell like this, plaster banded shell. And then when that cures and set, I will take them out. Then I will separate the tin seal from the platinum. Then you have to clay pour Ben up again and fix that eye. And you make a positive. It's going to look fucked up because Ben's eye got fucked up. So then you clay pour that up and you fix the eye, and then you have to refiberglass it. But what it does is it eliminates me from having to resculpt the thing all over again. I may use a little bit more silicone than I want to, but it will eliminate me having to do that resculpt all over again, just for one small portion that's messed up. So there are benefits to being able to do that. I did not, on Mr. T and Ben Gardner, when I sculpted them, I did not make silicone molds. I know that Mr. T has I'm cutting the tips off of these buds here, flattening them out because they're too tall. But at the same time, what I'm also doing is going by and clean this up with paper towel and water. And then come along, and where these are pointed, I'm just sawing off the tips to make them square. They're still in there, but they're just not so long. See? They got points on them. And all I'm doing is just sawing the tops off. It's like an ice cream cone, right? I'm just sawing the bottom of the ice cream cone off. So these tips don't, that's another thing they don't show you and tell you. And when you make molds, that these things come out and they're, messed up, and you can go back in there and fix them. Because what you see when they get ready to pour the other side, you see a clean, crisp mold that is cleaned up. There's no clay. It's all nice and pretty and all that shit. You don't see the processes of cutting the tips off of the molds. And it's not anything against these people that do it that way. I'm just telling you and showing you the realities of what you're going to run into and how to fix it, how to handle it, and to tell you it's not a bad thing, okay? So don't let these know-it-alls run around telling you, oh, I don't do it, it didn't happen to me. Prove it. Show me. Show me it doesn't happen to you. Show me. And of course, I know somebody's going to run out and make a video and fucking preach about how, oh, I've seen other artists do this and it makes me cringe and all that shit. Because he does it every time. But, that's just the way the world works. People think they're better than anybody else, and they're just going to fucking get out there and brag and flaunt and do all that bullshit. You see it on my page all the goddamn time. They just laugh and fucking do this shit. And you know what? Go ahead and laugh. But guess what? I'm doing this shit and you're not. So ha ha ha, laugh all you want. I'm making this shit and you're not. If you think you could do a better job and you are better at it, then fucking by all means, fucking go do it. Quit fucking laughing at me and shit, go do it. I'm telling you. Yes, I'm rough around the edges. That is my personality. Jesse said that very well, and I appreciate him for that. This is the way that I do it when you don't have professional tools. You don't have pasta presses to fucking make your damn clay back into perfect little square flat slabs and shit. That shit costs money. And the professionals, they can fucking afford, because people are paying money that's not theirs in a budget, to fucking buy a pasta press machine and pull your clay out and fucking run it through there and reflatten it and resquare it, redo all that shit. Not me. What I do is, if I was going to repurpose it, reflatten it, resquare it, I'd get me a damn rolling pin and fucking put it in there and roll it out and do all that shit. But you know what? That's extra time to do shit I don't have. If I spent more time concentrating on that bullshit, I wouldn't have time to be doing half the things I'm doing. So when you can repurpose clay, yes, you could do that. Like I said, I'm cleaning this off because I do want these keys to lock in and be good without any clay debris on them, because it will mold that clay debris into the other one, and when you clean it off, it will look entirely different. Now you see these look like Christmas tree points. You can see that. You probably can't, but they're like I said, they look like little ice cream cones. And I'm just taking the ends of the ice cream cone part and cutting it off, so it's a little bit square and flat. And by God, I've got a dull fucking scalpel. Shit. Can't believe that. I'm going to have to get another scalpel because fucking shit, this one's dull. Hang on, I'll be right back. I got a whole thing of these things. And razor blades. You can buy these from Amazon too. You can buy them just like this. And you can buy them like, 10, 22 a kit. You can also buy the kit that has the handles and about 100 blades. And I prefer to do both of those, because when you only have so many handles and you got 100 blades, you have like 10 handles, and these things get dull or they break or what have you, then you can just switch them out easy enough with the blades. So now this clay is dried out, and I can get a lot of this clay that's loose and dried out, and I can get it out of there, clean that up, just flakes off, pulls out, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't really going to show up now. I thought, you know what, I'd be hypocritical if I didn't show you all the cleaning part of the shit in a separate video. That'd be hypocritical, because I'm sitting there talking about how nobody shows you, and then I'm like, oh, I got to show them. So, fuck it. Cut it back on. Let's get to work. But I have to do it in small segment videos, because you post it up Facebook. And Facebook takes so long to process it and utilize it and scan it and do all that shit to make sure that your fucking video's got all your original material and it's not got anything that's going to be offensive and all that horse shit in it. Okay? So, I'm taking this napkin, a paper towel, and going along getting all this clay out. Cutting the nubs off the top of the ice cream cones, so we can have nice square little flat top keys. So when I pour it, they will be flat top and lock in very well, but you don't want to cut them too short. Some of them are molded, and I'm leaving them like they are, the little bottom ones here, because they're just buttons, and you don't want to cut the buttons and do all that shit. It's the tall ones that are standing up like this big. You don't need them that tall. You just need them to where they're locking together. So when you put the mold together and you rubber band strap it, it fits. I see here's some clay I didn't get off. And just pull that clay right off. And you come back with your paper towel, a little bit of water if you need to, and wipe all around these little nubs. Get this shit cleaned up really well. Like I said, you could leave some of the clay on there if you wanted to for release, but remember, what you leave on molds into what you're doing. So if you leave it and it gets molded and then you take it out after you separate the mold, you're going to have deficiencies. And by that I mean you're going to have places where that clay laid in there, the silicone molded over it, and then you go to pull it out, it's going to leave holes and gaps in your mold. And you don't want that. You don't want holes and gaps in the mold. That's why you clean it out before you re-pour or you do the second layer. I'm just going to take some water here, clean off the back of this. I got a couple of these little Christmas tree ice cream cone things. Cut that straight off. Now just clean up, and then I'm going to let it set for a little while. Go in, have another cup of coffee, and chill out, relax for a bit. Then I'll come back out, and I'll show you how to redo this with a fresh piece of mold board, because I'm not going to use the other stuff. I could do that, but you know what? It's going to be easier to just use a fresh piece of mold board to do this with. Okay? So you wet this down, get that clay, go back in there with the paper towel. When you wet it down, you just get this and wipe it off, and it comes away clean. And then you get your little Christmas tree bullshit, ice cream cone, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Cut them flat nubs. Circumcise these nubs. That's what we're doing. We're doing circumcision. I'm taking the foreskin off of these bitches. There you go. Hey, little Jew nubs and Jewish nubs, and I'm circumcising them. Woohoo! Brisk. We're brisking this mold. For the Jewish fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have children and kids and grandkids and stuff, and you take them to a brisk. That's what they do. I don't know how common that is in the Jewish community, though. But I do know that circumcision is kind of a thing that is... I want to go along, right along this blade, the top of this blade, and I'm going to cut. There's a little piece here that is a flap, and I don't want a deficiency in the blade. So I'm going to cut this right on the top of the blade here. I'm going to cut this tiny strip of silicone away. So it molds this flat blade with no deficiencies, no irregularities, no nothing. Because like I said, in some portions it did slide up under the blade. So where I can feel the blade of the machete, I'm going to mold that. And of course, like I said, if it's raised up and that's sunken in, that's good, because that is just where the resin is going to go. And it's going to fill that up, because the mold itself, the silicone that molds in there, that's kind of a key lock in itself. Because when you strap this thing together, I use rubber bands. I usually make a pour spout. I'll brush in a little resin first. And then what you have to do is you have to make a pour spout And I will do that from, I believe, this end. Well, I could do it from the handle, but then, you know, you have resin that comes out. And how you can do that is where this handle is, you take some clay and you put it in there, right there, and you make that pour spout on top of the silicone. You could have done it when you were doing a clay mold, but you'll have a big, huge pour spout that's going to cause problems when you go to break it off of here. But that's why I said, you know, you could do it when you're doing the clay, but you gotta, I'm trying to keep from having to break off chunks of resin so I don't deform the handle. So that's why we'll build a pour spout right here on the end of this, between these keys, and put some clay right there so it will mold a blank spot so I can pour resin through this. But I'll brush up for this portion on both sides, put it together, and then you pour resin in there to thicken things up. So there you go. And you may or may not have some leakage. We'll find out about that when we go to make the first pour. That's really what we have to test and see how this comes out. I'm pretty confident that when I mold it here in a little bit, take a little break, mold it, come back, box mold it. I'll show you guys the step for that. And then we'll put that together, we'll pour the silicone, release it, pour the silicone, do all that shit. And so see, now I have a clean, pretty much a clean mold. I'm going to take this and rub it, just get these tiny little clay bits out. I just take water and just rub it in the clay. This is water-based clay. Now, remember, you can't do this with oil-based clay. Oil and water do not mix. It will not release oil-based clay like this. Or you just take your water-based water and run it along your blade, wipe your blade down, clean all the clay and all the residuals and all that shit off of there. Wipe it down real good. So there's clay in here in these little keys, these little screw things. I'm going to take that clay out of there. That gets embedded in there too. There we go. Ugh. Now, come back, wipe it off, clean it out. Get all that clay out of these little 3 screw bolt holes. So you have a nice clean mold when you pour that silicone. That's why I wet this down with water and wipe it so it gets all the little clay residuals off. and cleans up the mold. And get all your little flanges and little nubbies, the little keys. And you clean that up real nice. And do not remove this. Do not remove your subject from the mold. Because if you remove your subject from the mold, you're likely not to be able to get back in there. You can get back in there, but you know what? You just remove it. It's a pain in the butt. Trust me, it's a pain in the butt. Take this paper towel and clean this out. Run this in here, get that extra water out of there, clean that up. Clean up all the clay. Good God Almighty. See, there's clay that was jammed down in there where I folded it. I still didn't clean it up. I gotta clean it up. Yes. There we go. Alright, now. Like I said, they won't show you this shit on the professional videos. The cleaning process. So then, when you get done, you have a nice clean mold. Hopefully all the way around. Probably going to go back in there, dry this off, and then before we do this, and I do the reassembly video for the other side, I'm going to give this a chance to dry. There's water on here, and so there we go. We've got a clean, nice mold where I've got enough channeling right here that that's going to get imprinted in the second half of the mold. So it's going to be a complete two-part. There's a little bit of a fold on this side with the silicone. I cut that away so I could have that blade to be nice and crisp and clean. I'll probably go back there and make sure I triple and quadruple check that before I do the other side of the thing. And then what we'll do is when we come back, we will be taking this piece of board, which is foam board, by the way. This is a 20 by 30 inch piece. It's about 50 centimeters by 7.62 centimeters thick. It's only 7.62 centimeters thick. So it's very thin, but it's durable. I'm going to show you how to make the mold walls for the other side of the mold. When we come back, I just want to take a little break, have some coffee, chill out for about an hour or so, then come back out here and do it. I don't want to rush on getting this done. I want to get it done, but I don't want to rush on getting it done. Okay? So I'm going to put this under here. So when we come back out, I will show you exactly how to do that. So I can clean this off. And the reason I'm doing this on the back is simple. It is very simple. You have to cut from the back. I'll explain all that in the next video. I'll show you what we're going to do. Here we are, we're setting up, we're prepped. I just got to do a little bit more cleanup, let this clay dry. Get all this clay off of here on the sides and everything. I want to make sure that this is a nice, even, square fucking mold all the way around, because it's got paper and clay and shit from the demolding. And this is basically just trash. I'm not even going to use this. This is all trash. So I'll throw this away, and we will come back in a little bit and do the backside process. Alright? Appreciate it. See y'all in a little bit.